evening, and welcome again to Public Perspective. I'm your host, Kevin McDermott. As you probably know, if you've been watching TV or reading the news, the world is kind of in a topsy-turvy state right now. So tonight, our special guest, internationally known, or would like to be internationally known, legend in his own mind, local comedian, Jaime deLeon. Jaime, it's such a great pleasure to have you here.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks. That was so kind.
Yeah, so you will be internationally known, we're all sure.
Yeah, I would describe myself with the opposite words: locally known,
Yeah.
neighborhood famous.
Neighborhood famous, I like that. Yeah.
I call myself a mini celebrity.
Soon to be major, any day now.
Yes, any day, literally. I'm waiting on a phone call on my mother's landline.
Yeah.
No, it is, it's a top. Oof, wow. How old are you, Kevin?
I am 62.
Have you seen anything crazier than what we're going through right now?
No, I follow politics. I'm myself, elected to local office, and this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And in fact, I have to say though, it strikes me as a golden age for anybody who does political comedy, because you can't make this stuff up.
So people, there is, if you consider yourself a comedian and you can't come up with at least one good joke every day based on the headlines, then you're not even trying. But people have different takes on it, like Dave Chappelle recently said in an interview that he thinks it's bad for comedy because so many comedians are coming up with the same jokes. I think that's a good point, but at the same time, I feel like, hey, the skies just opened up. Let's see who can do what with it.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
like what angle are you gonna come at this soft beach ball sized pitch coming at you named Donald Trump? So that's how I approach it. I was like, okay, how can I approach this idea in a way that I think is from my own unique perspective,
Well, I think that must be the hardest thing, because there is the obvious joke. I mean, I'm sure that no matter what the situation is, there would be an obvious joke, but then there's got to be a lot of non-obvious ones, right? And that's the ones you're looking for.
Right. And those, it takes work. You gotta really sift through sort of like what you can connect it to. But it's weird, man. Like people will be like, oh, people will say there's a formula to joke writing, and there is kind of, but in terms of like the inspiration, for me at least, it comes in waves. There'll be like 2 days where I just like and then like all of a sudden one day I just like idea after idea,
I think that's probably true of everybody who's creative. I mean, you talk about writers, and some days they'll just be on a total roll, and other days they're just pulling teeth to get a sentence out.
Yeah. But I think there are also people who are like, okay, Monday nights between 6 and 8, I'm going to do some joke writing, and then Tuesday I'm going to my improv class, and Wednesday I'm going to come to this lovely studio and talk
be
to
instantly
Kevin
funny,
and see if anything I say is funny today. By the way, this is cozy, man.
It's not bad, huh? Yeah.
It's cool.
Pretty good for, seat of the pants kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
What's this all about?
Well, we try to put these up as inspiration. Actually, my staff, whom I pay handsomely to be, to work on the show, I often offer to double their salary every year. 2 times 0 is... So, but they
nothing.
nonetheless still, for whatever reasons, come by and help me do this show every time, and they surprise me. They put things out, and I don't really know quite where they get them.
It's lovely. It makes me feel at home. I've been, in this setting a couple times, and I often feel like, oh, how big is my belly looking and all that stuff. But I feel cozy. I'm gonna kick my shoes off. Matter of fact.
Hey, why not? Yeah.
Comfortable. Maybe I'll sit on this chair like Kellyanne Conway sits on couches, See if I can even do it. No, I'm too fat, man. I'll break this chair. Oh, we're cool. Yeah, cozy. Yeah, so, and so many characters. Like, they're all freaking characters.
They're all crazy. They're all nuts.
Kellyanne Conway is a nut job, but she's terribly good at her job. She's like, you have to give her some credit, right? To go on TV every night and somehow with a straight face manage to say the things she says.
They're so outrageous.
What
and
is
with
she
a totally
famous
straight
for now?
face.
So, alternate facts.
Alternate facts.
She came up with that one, right?
Yeah.
The microwave camera.
Microwave cameras. Yeah.
My microwave is about 18 years old, so I was like, they're just gonna get an analog reception of my tortillas heating.
Yeah.
That's all they would have gotten.
Well, you've got Steve Bannon, you've got Conway, and the guy I think, I shouldn't say this out loud, the guy I actually have some sympathy for is Sean Spicer. Because the guy has to get up and say the most incredibly outrageous stuff and say it like he believes it. It's incredible that he's in that position.
Let me tell you something. Melissa McCarthy was the best thing to happen to Sean Spicer.
It made him funny.
Yeah, well, at least it sort of generated this kind of like, oh, the poor guy, But I don't know, man. He doesn't.
He did take the job of his own free will. We will point that out.
Not only that, but he lies so fervently. He does it so well with such like drama and especially remember that first one?
Oh, where he's
the inauguration was the most viewed inauguration ever, period. Like,
where's that coming from?
Who is this guy? And what the hell is he talking about? Look at these pictures.
Yeah. Yes, the pictures dispute you. Yes, that's just those pictures, yeah.
Right.
The real pictures tell a different story.
Right. In essence, every one of our eyes were lying to us,
Well, there is a thought that this is really all orchestrated because they're trying to, in fact, make the truth completely variable so that the only truth is what the president says it is.
Right. Right. Well, maybe that worked in his marriage.
Which one?
The latest one. Yeah. Maybe he's got Melania.
I don't know. Melania isn't interested in moving to the White House, and we'll see whether she moves there when their son finishes school.
Well, she shouldn't move to the White House. There's already a first lady there, and her name is Ivanka.
Yep.
And Melania, I think she's got it good. She's got it. Maybe they'll like trout her out to go around talking about bullying a little bit, just to go through the motions of what a first lady is supposed to do. But she's chilling in New York. She's not having to deal, I would imagine, as much directly with all the chaos of the White House,
She doesn't entertain the foreign dignitaries. Ivanka does that.
Yeah. By the way, did you see Ivanka and Trudeau? Oh,
yeah, they seem to hit it off pretty well. Yeah.
She was like.
It reminds me, actually, this may be before your time. Trudeau's father, Pierre Trudeau, who was married to Maggie Trudeau, who was much younger and.
My godparents, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then you know them well.
Yes. Lovely people.
They were. She was consorting with the Rolling Stones while still married to Pierre Trudeau.
No shit.
Yeah, and they were. She was, backstage hanging with people, and.
So Justin Trudeau's mom.
Well, actually, I don't know if that was his mother. It's his father's wife.
Okay.
Whether that's his mother, I'm not so sure.
Mom or stepmom, maybe.
Stepmom, at least. Yeah. So she's hanging with the Stones and not paying attention to her husband, who's Premier of Canada.
Hanging with the Stones as if like having sex with them every night.
Well, that was the question in the tabloids. What's really going on here? So one of the tabloids interviewed.
She was their drug dealer.
It's entirely possible. They
The
asked
Canadian ambassador.
they asked Keith Richards. They said, you know, what do you think of this, you know, prime minister's wife hanging with you? And his answer was, well, I wouldn't want my wife hanging out with us.
Whoa.
So what does that tell you about what they might have been up to off stage? You know?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So now Justin Trudeau is in good company. He's hanging with Ivanka Trump.
Yeah. Did you see those pictures of her
Mm-hmm.
looking the way she was looking at him?
Yeah.
Like she looked ready to go with a little funky comedina. I don't know if you understand that reference.
I don't, but it sounds like something that would be suitable to this kind of environment. So what is a funky comedina?
It's funny just to hear you say those words. It was a song by a really bad rapper in the late 80s, I think. Yeah, it was a really bad song.
Okay, well,
But
we have ample opportunity to make references to bad songs.
yeah, we
bad,
can't play anything. We can't just, they can't hook it up right now.
I'm afraid our archives just aren't that thorough. Yeah, we can't
Oh.
dig it out that quick. Yeah.
You don't have Google?
I don't.
YouTube?
No, we're low
Come on,
tech
step
here.
it up, Comcast.
Yeah, we just graduated from videotapes. You know, we just went digital not long
Oh.
ago. So, in
Wow.
fact, I had a guy on the show some years ago, and I used to. Really, we had videotapes, you know, the actual tape things.
Yeah.
And I handed at the end of the show. I made a copy for the guest back then. I handed the videotape to this guy. He was from Afghanistan, you know. And I handed the tape to him. And he goes, you know, what's this? You know, like, come on, you have videotapes in Afghanistan. He says, no, we've got CDs in Afghanistan. What are you talking about?
Oh.
So yes, we were not even as up to date at that point as
Yeah.
they were in Afghanistan.
You just reminded me, you see the movie American Psycho?
No, I didn't see that.
With what's his face? Guy that plays Batman. British actor.
Yeah, it's probably in my memory somewhere, but I can't help you on that one.
Anyways, he's a serial killer. But the movie is set in the 80s, and there's a couple of times where, like, for no reason, he's just like, I gotta return some videotapes. And it's just like, you know, I've watched the movie a lot. It's a really great, it's a dark comedy. It's a black comedy.
It really is.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
a name like American Psycho, it's actually a comedy.
Yeah, it's a black, but really dark,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Like there's
yeah.
literal murders
Oh,
like,
okay,
that are not
yeah.
supposed to be funny.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyways, like I just, you remember? Do you remember when like, I gotta take the videotapes back? Like that was
Yep.
just such a damn chore. And then late fees.
I remember
good
those
riddance
days. Good riddance to-
videotapes, VHS.
Yeah.
Who needed those big, boxy plastic things?
See, I'm even worse than that. I go back to the days of 8-track tapes, and I bet there's a lot of people watching this show who don't even know what that is.
I remember my dad's car having an 8-track player. You know, that's what Trump and his Trump supporters mean when they say "Make America Great Again." Let's take it back to the days of 8-track. You know.
Yeah, I think
simpler
you're right.
times,
Yeah, because that would have been the 1970s, and
which were pretty bad economically, weren't they?
they were. Yes, that was actually the era of stagflation.
Stagflation.
Yeah.
Sounds like a porno.
Yes, it does. It does. But, yeah.
A bunch of economists having sex.
Yeah, wouldn't make a good porno movie. I don't think everyone would watch that. Yeah.
Stagnation.
Yeah.
Well, what is stagnation?
Stagflation. And
Stagflation.
it was a combination of inflation, so prices were rising, but the economy was stagnant, so it wasn't growing. So everybody was getting screwed, right?
Prices were rising.
Right, because
but
prices were rising, but nobody was making any more money.
GDP wasn't growing. or
GDP was not growing, right?
Okay.
So they call that stagflation.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
It was a bad thing.
That has screwed over a lot of Latin American countries, huh?
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like not in a good way, unless you were a tourist.
It was
Or
good.
wait, the opposite happened in Argentina a few years ago, where like everything was dirt cheap.
Well, they
My
had.
friends went and they were like, "Oh, we're having steaks, red wine, you know, $5, $6, you know." So no, I guess I'm wrong. What was that?
Well, they've
what was
also
that
had-
happened in Argentina?
Yeah, well, if I go back.
Was it their local currency just got devalued?
Yeah, decades they had actually a period of hyperinflation in Argentina. Now this is going back quite a few years, where like it cost $100 today and it costs $150 tomorrow.
Okay.
So things were just like going up so fast that people couldn't. It's like this is what happened in Germany before the Nazis took over. This is one of the reasons why the Nazis were able to take over, was they had hyperinflation where people were literally like carrying bushels of cash with them because prices were going up so fast you didn't know what you're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's a bad situation when you get that.
All right. Yeah, that's not good. I hope that's not what Trump causes.
Well, if that were to be the case, he would for sure win the title of worst president ever. He seems to be competing pretty hard.
I think he's already like second place. I think he's already.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's being investigated, right?
2 months into his presidency.
2 months.
Yeah.
It's not even 100 days.
Yeah.
He must be tired of all this winning. Right?
Yes.
He just wins too much. Like, the 2 travel bans lost in court.
Mm-hmm.
Flynn forced to resign.
Mm-hmm.
Sessions got in hot water, might still resign or have to resign.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't look like Mexico's paying for that wall.
I don't
Doesn't
think
even look
so.
like it'll be a wall, more like a fence.
Yeah.
Uh,
If they can build it at all,
Yeah,
where's the
yeah.
money coming from?
yeah. Yemen raid, botched.
Yeah, botched.
What else? Shit, everything. The health care plan, in trouble.
Yes, actually, even though this show won't air for a few days afterward, yeah, that just tanked out today.
Yeah.
In fact.
He sure is doing all this winning. He said he was.
But on the other hand, he does have the lowest rating of any president at this point in the administration. That's a first.
Okay.
He's number one there.
He's number one.
Right.
Yes.
He
won that.
He won that.
He won the worst.
He won the worst.
The worst rating of any incoming president.
Right. He is, I think, the first president to be under investigation this early in a term. I mean, Nixon was under investigation, but that took him 2 terms before he got there.
Yes. The first. Let's talk about all the firsts.
Yeah, there you go.
All right,
So-
you named a few. The first president to express his sexual attraction to his daughter.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's
Okay.
true.
Probably
Which might be why she's in the First Lady's office in the White House.
Yeah,
I guess.
exactly. Exactly. It all makes sense. The first president to have openly cheated on previous wives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Like, I think the other guys, I'm sure, like, probably 80-90% of our presidents have cheated on their wives, but, like,
They kind of kept it quiet.
they kind of kept it quiet. You know, they
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
They weren't, like, on the front page of the New York Post with their new girlfriend, you know?
Yeah, in fact, didn't Trump, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't his second wife find out she was getting divorced through the newspaper? Wasn't that the deal?
Probably,
Yeah.
yeah. Or I think Trump's ghost publicist, John Miller, told her.
John, yeah.
That story, I don't think gets enough attention.
No, it doesn't get enough
you know?
coverage.
You know what
no.
I'm talking about,
I
right?
do.
Like,
He calls up as his own publicist.
right. Pretends he's
someone else.
Someone else.
Right.
So I'm sure first president to ever do that.
Yes.
You know?
So he has dual personality.
Yes.
The first president with that.
Disorder.
Yeah, characteristic. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. It's a character trait.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. First president to be like, yeah, I don't think the CIA knows what they're doing.
Well, that's the thing, let's make an enemy of the CIA. You're the
Right,
president
right.
of the United States. The CIA knows how to assassinate people and leave no trail.
Yes.
And so you're going to make them your enemy. Is that a
Yes.
smart thing to do?
Which
but it's a first.
You know, I think they are killing him softly and slowly. These,
Yeah.
Revelations are like drip, drip. Let's see if we can predict what the news will have for us in store tomorrow. So today the big bombshell was kind of that, like, Nunes guy
Yeah.
told the president, hey, they collected intel on your team without telling all of the investigative committee, which is like completely
completely wrong.
completely wrong,
Yeah.
unethical, maybe even illegal, right? Who knows, right?
Yeah, well, possibly, but
Yeah. So I mean, basically,
yeah.
I mean, it's how it's not that different from like a police detective being part of an investigative team into sort of like a cartel, and then picking up the phone and calling the leader of the cartel.
Say, hey,
Like,
dude,
hey,
bro.
yeah, my friends, they got some stuff on you guys. So just thought you should know.
And let me tell you what it is, by the way. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Um,
So
so that happened today,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So I think, let's say there was another bombshell. It's everything is just sort of pretty much just like developing into what we all know happened, which is his freaking team and him colluded with Russia to release, these WikiLeaks to damage Hillary to help him win. Like I think, all like all of the arrows point to that idea, and now people are just sort of like slowly like confirming each arrow,
Yeah, each one seems to be, oh, yeah, there
Yeah,
really
it's
is
lighting
something
up like
there.
ding, like this arrow just lit up,
In fact, no less a luminary. Remember John Dean from the Watergate days? He was the
I don't
White
remember
House.
him
He was White House counsel.
because
So-
I'm not 70 like you.
Not there yet, but
Okay,
I'm getting
okay,
there. So
okay.
we don't need to rush things. And hopefully we'll still be in America when I'm 70.
Yes.
So John Dean was the counsel to the president in the Nixon administration. And he turned out to be the key witness during the Watergate scandal because he was famously on tape in the tapes that got recorded in the Oval Office as saying, there's a cancer on the presidency, Mr. President. And later when he was called to testify in front of the Watergate committee, he spilled the beans and basically said, yeah, they just, they covered everything up.
Yeah.
So Dean was in the news just the other day saying about the Trump White House saying, I've been through cover-ups, and that's what's happening here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, it couldn't be if like the only sort of like criteria was, to make a conclusion. If like the only thing you had to do was just sort of like look at how people are behaving, like,
Yeah.
right, like, like he's no different than like a little kid getting busted, trying to change the subject, like, "Mommy, I'm hungry." "Oh, Mommy, look what Junior did." Oh,
Well,
it's
and the
fascinating.
thing is, like, all these people in his administration keep saying, "Oh no, I never talked to the Russians," and then it turns out, of course, they did multiple times.
Right.
And it's like at some point, after so many people deny it, and it turns out to be true, you're like, well, why are you all saying you didn't?
Right.
When you did,
Right.
what did you really talk about?
Right.
Hmm.
Right. Yeah, man. And I don't. I think people are still harping a little too much on Hillary Clinton, in terms of like what she should have done, right?
She should have talked to the Russians. Clearly, that was her downfall. Right?
Or whoever opposes Russia,
Right.
But I think it is there's some legitimate fair things to say, and like, I mean, one of the positive things from the election was, I don't know if you know this, like 4 more states passed recreational marijuana.
Yes, I
Yes,
thought that,
that's-
including California,
California,
35 million people.
Nevada, Maine, and Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
That's 4 states. I think that's more than Hillary won.
Yes, yeah.
I think that might be more than Hillary won. We getting a signal? How much time we got left?
I got 5 minutes. Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
cool. Because I just want to say this in terms of sort of like my first reactions were, well, okay, maybe we should have nominated weed to run against Trump. I think it would have been a blowout. I wanted to get that in, but I wanted to say this. I think we're gonna lose some holidays. I think MLK would just likely soon be gone.
He may want to withdraw from this.
Yeah,
you never know.
I think he should be gone actually, because he's just gonna ruin it every MLK. So let's just we'll bring it back with the next guy.
Okay.
We just turned Columbus Day into Indigenous Peoples Day. I think that's probably gone. I think that's going to be Columbus Day again.
It'll be because it's not politically correct. right. Or they'll feel it's being too politically correct to call it Indigenous Peoples
Because
Day.
Trump hates brown people, basically.
Or any shade darker than that as well. Yeah,
Right. Brown and darker.
Brown
right,
and darker, right.
I think probably the only holidays that will stay is like Cinco de Mayo and St. Patrick's Day. You know.
And I'm not so sure about Cinco de Mayo.
I'm not
but,
sure either,
yeah,
which is fine because let me tell you how stupid that holiday is. This is how stupid it is that Americans celebrate Cinco de Mayo, right? Imagine if like Mexico had a holiday where like every year Mexicans celebrated the Battle of Gettysburg, you know, and Mexicans got dressed up in like Civil War costumes and like got drunk as shit on like Jack Daniels and Budweiser, you know. That would be the
we would
equivalent.
think it's pretty stupid.
Yeah, American tourists down there would be like, what the hell are these Mexicans celebrating, you know? That would be the equivalent.
Yeah, actually, I've never thought about that. I think that's a good observation. It's like, yeah. Well, Americans are always looking for a good excuse to drink heavily. So that's probably what happened
Any
there.
excuse. I was at the Laugh Factory a couple of nights ago, and this Irish comedian came up, and he was like, yeah, thank you, Americans, for the very subtle way in which you celebrate our very solemn and sacred holiday of St. Patrick.
Yes, the founder of Ireland.
Yeah, I guess it's more, a little more holier and not as crazy.
Well,
is that right?
It is St. Patrick.
You're Irish, right?
after all. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, McDermott, how did you figure that
Right,
out?
yeah,
That's-
MC. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like McDonald's.
Yeah. I'm not nearly as wealthy, but yes.
Right. So what's it like? Do you know?
Well, I have never been to Ireland for St. Patrick's Day, so I couldn't tell you specifically.
Okay.
But the Irish
I'm sure they
are-
do their fair share of drinking as well. though.
they don't need a holiday to drink heavily in
right.
Ireland.
It's
In fact,
part of every meal.
I was in Ireland a number of years ago, and we were at a pub that there was the national sport called hurling. It's actually a very cool sport. It's kind of a cross between highlight and hockey.
Okay.
And we happened to be watching the national championship. We stopped by this bar that looked closed, but we went in and, we were sitting and drinking, and they had all the lights off and the doors closed. And I thought this was really cool. You get to watch the TV.
Yeah.
And about an hour into it, this was a Sunday, about an hour into it, all of a sudden, the lights came on, they threw open the doors, and some of the locals I was talking to, I said, what just happened? Now, bear in mind, this place was jammed with people drinking.
Yeah.
And the guy turned to me and says, oh, well, it's Sunday, we weren't open until just now.
Yeah.
I thought, so they were not too concerned about the
Yeah.
fact that it was Sunday and you're not supposed to be open and drinking, and there they were. That's the Irish for you.
Well, I would love to go visit one day.
I think that's probably eminently doable.
Yeah.
It hasn't been put on the list of banned countries yet, so I think we're
That's
still
true.
good there.
I can travel. Hopefully they'll let me in.
Yeah, let you back in after you go. That's the
No, I
that's
mean Ireland. Let me an American in, because right now I'd be like, fuck you guys.
yeah, they might not. You never
Right.
know. And you're not allowed to say that stuff on TV, by the way, just so you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But we don't have a bleeper,
You're
so
not. Yeah.
it's
What
going
do
to
you-
sneak out no
What
matter
are you gonna do? And you don't
nothing.
edit the
And we
show.
don't edit the show,
Uh-oh.
so we're just there. It's
This is it. That was the result of me being so comfortable, man.
there
You
you
should
go.
have been like, Jaime, don't get 100% comfortable.
yeah, like put your shoes back on.
Because
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
very natural.
Yeah.
I will
And-
put my
and-
shoes back on because
Because
I need
actually-
to step outside.
Well, actually, we're also out of time, so it is time to put
Oh,
your shoes
cool,
back on.
cool.
So, Jaime, it's been a blast.
Yeah,
So,
it was.
yeah.
Went
So-
by like that.
So thank you for coming by, and
Yeah.
we'll get you on again. God knows that there'd be enough turmoil in the world where there's
Oh, we'll have enough to talk about tomorrow morning.
next week. Yeah, for sure.
So let me shamelessly plug my show, Pilsen Stand Up at Simone's in Pilsen. It's the third Wednesday of the month.
Every month?
Every month, yeah, 8 o'clock, Pilsen Stand Up comedy show. And then I'll be at the Laugh Factory next Thursday,
Cool.
if anybody's around Boys Town.
Well, with that, we're out of time.
All right, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And thank you for joining us once again on Public Perspective. I'm your host, Kevin McDermott. You can find us every Saturday night at 8 on Comcast Channel 19. Find us on the web at publicperspective.tv. So until next time, thank you and good night.